Hello Class 9, welcome to History lecture. We are continuing with our second chapter, Napoleon Bonaparte and the Napoleonic Empire. Today we will do about the Peninsular Warfare of Napoleon Bonaparte. So the first thing that we should remember is that the Iberian Peninsula is where the war took place. And in this war, it is very important war because this war brought about the end of Napoleon, and it started like the continental system we see was the first step towards Napoleon's fall. This war, or the Iberian Peninsular War, was another deep it was another important part which led to the decline of Napoleon Bonaparte. So in Iberian Peninsular War, first we see that Spain and Portugal were the two countries which constituted the Iberian Peninsula. And we see that Napoleon Bonaparte, these were the satellite countries of France. They were they had close association with France. But what we see is that Napoleon Bonaparte wanted to capture Portugal. So when he was marching his army to Portugal, he marched through Spain and reached Portugal. There he attacked Portugal and captured Portugal without any previous notice to them. So Portugal was captured, and we see that while returning back, Spain was also captured. In Spain, Ferdinand was the emperor, and Ferdinand was forced to resign, and Napoleon's own brother Joseph Bonaparte was installed on the throne. So in Spain we see that they had no plan to capture Spain, but while returning from Portugal, as he was returning from Spain, he attacked Spain also, and he forced Ferdinand to resign from the Spanish throne, and his own brother Joseph Bonaparte was installed on the throne of Spain. This was not liked by the Spanish people, and it hurt the Spanish national sentiment because they wanted that the Spanish ruler should rule them, whereas Napoleon installed his own brother Joseph Bonaparte on the throne of Spain. So from this time we see that Spain and Portugal were planning to organize an attack on Napoleon Bonaparte, and during this time we see that many revolutionary secret societies grew up in Spain, especially in Spain, also in Portugal. Many revolutionary secret societies were developing in Spain against Napoleon because they were planning to attack and capture Napoleon. They had their national sentiment, and this led to the development of these secret societies and revolutionary organizations. So this war, Spain and Portugal got united, and they asked for British help. So Portugal, Spain and Britain came up together. Spain and Portugal joined hands, they were united, and they asked for British help. Britain, you know that always Britain was the enemy of Napoleon. So Britain was agreed to help Spain and Portugal. And we see that the war broke out between Napoleon on one side and Spain, Portugal and Britain joined hands, and they were on one side. So these three powerful nations on one side, especially Britain, which was a very powerful nation, and they declared the war on Napoleon in 1808, and it continued till 1812. So this war continued till 1812, and you see that in this long phase Napoleon suffered great decline in his empire also. And we see financially, that is economic loss was also huge. France suffered huge economic loss, as well as huge number of army of Napoleon was also lost in this war. So he lost time, money and army. And this for so many years we see Napoleon was engaged in this Peninsular War, but ultimately Napoleon was defeated by these three powers. Ultimately he was defeated. So in spite of giving so much money, so much army and so much time in this Peninsular War, Napoleon was defeated, and this marked the beginning of the decline of Napoleon. We can also say that Napoleon was in the verge of decline. Beginning of Napoleon's decline started from the continental system, and from the Peninsular War we see that just a few steps Napoleon was away from his decline. And this war marked the decline of Napoleon, and he was defeated badly. He was so much ruined that Napoleon himself said that the Spanish ulcer ruined me. This war with Spain, he himself has described as an ulcer. Ulcer is a bad disease, from which recovery is rarely possible or not possible in those days. So what we say is that he himself calls it a Spanish ulcer. The Spanish word, he calls it Spanish ulcer, and he said that this Spanish ulcer ruined him completely. So this was the Peninsular War of Napoleon Bonaparte, which was one of the main reasons for the decline of Napoleon Bonaparte. Thank you.